didn't see him anywhere. Do you think he forgot his promise to meet us?
Who forgot their promise? I was beginning to think you'd forgotten about me.
What? Is that dog talking to us?
Relax, no need to look so surprised. I take it this is the first time you've seen me in this form? Huh. So you didn't see anything like this when you were in Liyue Harbor?
Ah, now that you mention it, this does suddenly seem less out of the ordinary.
Alright, I've had my fun.
Hey, you're this close to getting an ugly nickname, mister!
Well, I've had some time to kill, given that I've been waiting here for you for so long, as was the case in Rito. So I came up with this little fun greeting for when you arrived. But in all seriousness, I would like to apologize about that little test you went through earlier, though it was quite necessary. It helped us determine whether or not to bring you before Miss Kamisato, and whether you had the courage to face the lightning alongside us.
Don't think that Paimon's gonna forgive you just because you're getting all serious now.
Sorry, did I overdo it? My apologies. Let me just say this. You've often found yourself skirting the rules from the very beginning, haven't you? Naturally, this is due to your unwavering and resolute determination. A long time ago, we had a friend who was much the same, but when the lightning struck... Ah, so you've heard of his story. His light still burns all the more brightly. Yes, of course. I will bring you to the Kamisato residence where the Yashiro Commission is located. But before that, there is one other place I was hoping you both would accompany me to.
Oh? Where?
I would like you to come with me to the statue of the omnipresent god. It's still under construction now, but you can already see it from practically anywhere on Narukami Island.
The books were more interesting in the past.
Probably don't come here often, do they? Huh? Are Paimon's eyes playing tricks? Or are there things embedded in the statue?
Visions.
Visions? You mean all the visions that are collected from the Vision Hunt decree are put into the statue?
So you've already heard of the Vision Hunt decree. Before I try to explain, I should perhaps remind you first that Mondstadt is the city of freedom, and Liyue is the city of contracts. As for Inazuma, it's known as the Nation of Eternity. The Raiden Shogun is both the nation's most powerful ruler and its deity. The Eternity in question is her endless and unchanging will to rule over Inazuma. As such, she relies on the Tri-Commission to regulate the nation's affairs and the Sakoku Decree to limit the people's movement. The Shogun wishes to keep Inazuma in stasis, allowing the stream of time to flow from one end to the other without disturbing it for all time.
Seems like every god has their own will.
Of course, this is my own limited understanding. As for the reason behind the recent Vision Hunt decree, perhaps the Shogun believes that visions grant people the power to change, and that her eternity doesn't allow for such instability to exist. Whatever the case, the fact is that the Raiden Shogun has dispatched the Tenryou Commission to scour the nation for visions, embedding each one in this statue. And this statue of the omnipresent god can be seen as Inazuma's symbol of eternity.
But if that's the case, wouldn't you say that the Raiden Shogun is being, oh, I don't know, selfish?
Only outlanders such as yourselves would ever dare speak out so directly against the Raiden Shogun. And yet, I agree. The Vision Hunt decree is something that simply should not exist. And Miss Kamisato has been committed to fighting it since the day it was announced.
Huh? Hey, are you okay? You look like your mind is elsewhere.
Sound? What sound? I didn't hear anything. Did something happen?
Yeah, you touched the statue, and then what?
Aspirations? That would seem to confirm the saying. Have you heard it before? That when a person's ambition reaches a certain strength, the gods look upon them with favor. That is where visions come from. In other words, a person's vision represents their ambition. So if what you just said is true, then the ambitions of these people are stronger than I imagined. Alright, time for the next stop on our tour of Narukami Island, the Kamisato residence.
Finally! So, this is the kind of place where the big shots of Inazuma live, huh? Paimon kinda expected it to be snazzier.
Welcome at last to the Kamisato residence, honored guests. Miss Kamisato is delighted to finally meet you.
Is this the Shirasage Himegimi you keep going on about? So, where's she at? Oh, behind the screen?
Yes. As the daughter of the Yashiro Commission, this is how Miss Kamisato is accustomed to receiving guests. Consider it a time-honored tradition within the Yashiro Commission. Forgive me if this is an unwelcome surprise.
Makes sense. She's a super important person after all.
Please forgive my lack of courtesy for receiving you in this fashion, especially following such a long and wearisome journey over the sea. I have awaited your arrival with great anticipation, and Toma assures me that you do indeed possess the power to change the tide of the times. At present in Inazuma, in the name of the Vision Hunt decree, the people's aspirations are being senselessly trampled underfoot. Though the Yashiro Commission serves the Shogun, it is the people with whom we share close bonds, given the contact we are required to have with them in the performance of our duties. A commission's power rises and falls with the trust of their people. Thus, we cannot remain indifferent to this situation without also remaining indifferent to our own fate. Traveler, lend us your power, and we can... Oh...
See, milady, it's just like I said. This will take us nowhere.
No, please! Wait! Please, don't go! I will introduce you to the Raiden Shogun on one condition. You must fulfill 3 small wishes on my behalf.
What are your wishes?
They pertain to 3 whose visions were taken from them. Perhaps once you've met them, you will understand.
A warrior who guards a village, a former samurai who helped carry out the Vision Hunt decree, and a swordmaster determined to become the best in the world. Does Paimon get that right?
Correct. Please do all you can to help them. I will await your return here. Then you have my gratitude.
I'm sure you'll do great.
Let's see. Where's the person Ayaka told us about?
Why are you doing this? Why leave all of a sudden, after all these years?
Precisely. It's much too sudden. We've had no time to prepare. The children are desperate for you to take them out to play. Please, we urge you to reconsider.
That must be the guy Ayaka told us about. Let's go over and see.
Ah, you must also be here to try and convince Tejima to stay. Tejima has protected this place ever since he arrived here 30 years ago. Keeping out the treasure hoarders, fending off any monsters that draw near, resolving quarrels between the villagers. He has put an enormous amount of work into looking after this place, and we all think the world of him. But now, all of a sudden, he says he plans to leave us. We can't help but wonder, was it something we did? We will gladly apologize if that's the case. All we want is for him to stay.
If you want my opinion, something to do with the Vision Hunt decree. It's clear that Tejima had done nothing wrong, and still they confiscated his vision. After that, he became a completely different person. I can't claim to fully understand it, but I could tell that he'd lost something very important to him. He went off on a walk, alone, circled the village a few times, and then out of the blue, he announced that he was going to leave and become a wanderer. Truth be told, we aren't sure whether trying to keep him here is the right thing to do. But equally, it doesn't feel right to let him leave when he's in this state. He's a lost soul.
Seems like he's a well-respected guy around here. You must be Tejima. So what's made you want to up and leave all of a sudden?
Me? It's not a question of why I want to leave, but a question of what reason I would have to stay. True, but that's not why I chose to stay here. And what made me want to come here 30 years ago? And why have I never wanted to leave in all that time? I don't have answers to those questions because I can't remember anymore. Ever since they took my vision away, it's like a slice of my memory is gone. In the past, I knew I wanted to stay here. But whatever resolve I had then, it's gone now. So I thought, what's to stop me from moving around instead? The emptiness inside me will be there either way.
Okay. Well, in that case, discover the reason you chose to stay, you won't need to leave anymore, right? But if you can't remember anything, it's not gonna be easy. Oh, maybe if you just try a little harder to remember, then it'll all come flooding back?
Oh, that reminds me. Last time I brought Tejima some fruit, I do believe I saw him writing in a diary.
I keep a diary? If you say so. I honestly can't seem to remember.
Oh, yes, you do. And what's more, I remember you saying at the time that you wanted to make a note of a few interesting things. Things which would prove very important at a later date.
Perfect! So if we want to keep Tejima from leaving, we just need to find his diary. It must be around here somewhere. Let's take a look.
If you don't mind, we will leave you to find the diary. We should head back to the village to inform the others of Tejima's situation.
This looks like Tejima's diary, all right. Let's see what we have here. Today, the villagers and I got together to cook dry braised salted fish. I messed up and burned mine a little, so I had to pretend that it was black snakehead instead. Today, I helped rescue a kid who had fallen in the water. After I pulled him out, he told me that his best friend Bamboo was still in the water. I searched the water the whole afternoon before finding out that Bamboo was the name of his pet crab. I went kite flying today. The string broke, so I chased after it as fast as I could. I soon realized I was never going to get it back, so I just found somewhere to sit and watch as it flew away into the distance. Seems like your average diary of daily village life. Huh? Wait, there's more! I went to pray at the shrine again today and stayed there a while. The omamori you gave me has faded a little, but it is still my most treasured possession. Now that's the kind of info we're looking for. Time to pay a visit to the shrine. So this is the omamori Tejima wrote about. Interesting. Looking at the color and the design, Paimon would have thought it belonged to a child. But anyway, if he had this with him all the time, there's a chance some of his elemental energy remained on it. Do you think that it might come in handy? Somewhere that Tejima visited a lot. The soil looks like it's been disturbed. Maybe Tejima buried something precious here. Something that kept him in the village all these years? Must be something pretty amazing if it made him stick around for 30 years. Let's dig it up and take a look. It looks like a letter. The paper's gone yellow. Must have been written a really long time ago. Konda Village. Sounds so familiar. Where is that place again? So the reason Tejima came here was to wait for someone. But he's been here for 30 years. Oh, guess they didn't show up in the end, huh? Well, let's go give Tejima his stuff back and take it from there.
I'll be. That's certainly my handwriting. And I guess the Omamorian letter belonged to me too. But I have no memory of anything that's written in this diary. Still, it's clear that I was waiting for someone here, and that I chose to wait for 30 years. Over the years, I must have made a note of anything interesting. Anything that I could share with her when we were finally reunited. And just look at all the things that did happen over the years. The time has flown by so quickly. 30 years feels like the blink of an eye. How could I have forgotten something so important to me? Now that I think about it, when my vision was taken from me, it felt like I'd suddenly been hollowed out. Love, regret, everything I felt for her, it's all disappeared. No, not especially. After all, I've forgotten who she was. Her face, her voice, the things we experienced together. I barely recall any of it. It's as if she'd never been in my life to begin with. As if all these years have been nothing but a hazy dream. I think maybe not. If this is something I waited most of my life for, I suppose I should carry on waiting. Although, what if she were to turn up eventually, only to find I didn't remember so much as her name? Wouldn't that be upsetting for her? When I think about it like that, I do feel a slight tinge of sadness in my heart. How curious. Why am I thinking like this when I don't even remember who she is? It's just like that feeling of emptiness, the feeling that something is missing. Thank you both for helping me reconnect with my reason for staying here. I shall remain here and keep waiting for her.
Tejima seems to be dealing okay, but still, it makes Paimon really sad. Seems it's just like Ayaka and Tomo were saying. If you lose your vision, you lose all your hopes and dreams too. That certainly explains the state Tejima was in earlier. At least we were able to help him, weren't we? Well, let's go find the next person. According to Miss Kamisato, the second one who lost their vision is a samurai from the Tenryou Commission. They say the Tenryou Commission is directly controlled by the Shogun. They're the ones responsible for maintaining law and order in Inazuma, the ones actually enforcing the Vision Hunt decree. But why would they take action against one of their own? Paimon doesn't get it. Huh? There seems to be some commotion over there. Let's go see what's happening.
I'll ask one more time. Do you intend to withhold this month's emergency provisions?
The entire clan is counting on that food. We demand an explanation.
How many times do I have to say it? I don't know anything about emergency provisions.
You dare deceive us? Those provisions are essential. Do you understand? Not some goods to be pocketed by greedy samurai.
You samurai think you can just do whatever you please? The Tenryou Commission will hear of this.
Oh, huh? And who are you? One of Kurosawa's gang, no doubt.
What? We just happened to be passing by. We heard the commotion and came to see what the matter was.
I see. You seem to have come just at the right time. Perhaps you can help us settle this matter. This is Kurosawa. He's a samurai and a member of the Shogun's army. They issue emergency provisions to the area, and he's the one responsible for distribution. In the past, we'd simply ask him for provisions and everything would be delivered. Now, he suddenly refuses to give us anything. He's keeping the provisions for himself, I just know it. We'll starve without them.
No one seems to care about us. We used to think Kurosawa was a kind man, but he's shown his true colors. He's the same as all the other samurai. It's no wonder all the visions have been confiscated. The Raiden Shogun doesn't need people like him helping her rule the nation.
This must be one of the people Ayaka asked us to help. But why would she ever want us to help someone like him? Maybe we should talk to Kurosawa and see what he has to say.
I've never even heard of these emergency provisions. I don't know whether it's rumors or whether they're trying to blackmail me. But either way, it's ridiculous. If I was hoarding supplies, would I still be the poor man I am today? My own family can barely get by as it is. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got other matters to attend to. And that's the first bit of truth I've heard all day. The Shogun's army told me that I was unworthy of my vision. And they said I was slacking off in my work. Apparently, I'd even disappointed the Raiden Shogun. And that's why they confiscated my vision.
Well, that's strange. You were helping enforce the Vision Hunt decree. Why would you be unworthy of your vision?
To be perfectly honest, I don't seem to remember the details. All I know is that I would perform certain things every month. But I don't recall what they were. And it's not just that. I have this unsettling feeling, like someone owes me something.
Does it have to do with the missing emergency provisions?
I didn't take any. Like I said, if I was taking them for myself, I wouldn't be going through such hard times right now. To top it all off, my house was just raided by treasure hoarders, which is why I came here in the first place. I was chasing after them when I got held up by these two. If you don't believe me, go find the treasure hoarders yourself. If there were any emergency provisions to be had, they would have found them.
Huh. He seems to be telling the truth. But we better confirm. Let's go round up those treasure hoarders and see what they have to say. We should be able to follow their tracks. They couldn't have gone too far.
We really outdid ourselves this time. All those samurai houses packed with goods, we really hit the jackpot. I mean, besides that one house.
You haven't seen anything yet. There'll be a lot more where this came from. Today's just the beginning. I'll be leading you all on an epic journey of pillage and plunder that will go down in hoarder history.
You demand, boss!
These seem like the treasure hoarders we're after. Let's teach them a lesson!
Another test subject. Fry! Picked the wrong test subject.
Aw, there goes all the Mora. We worked hard to steal that, you know? Come on, boss. Think of something.
Not bad, kid. You ever think of joining the treasure hoarders? We could use someone like you. Kurosawa. Oh, I remember. So he's the one who sent you after us, huh? Just our luck. I knew he shouldn't have hit that place.
So what did you see inside? Was it stuffed with food supplies?
Food supplies? You kidding? That place was a complete mess. All we found was a strange-looking box, hopefully with valuables inside. I didn't want anyone else to see it, so I was planning on opening it myself once we got back. But now that you've caught us, how about we make a deal? That little box for our freedom. What do you say?
You've got a deal. Now show us what's in the box.
Huh?
What the?
There's nothing in here but IOUs!
Yeah, a lot of them too. And they all seem to be made out to the owner of a general goods store, a Miss Aoi. We're talking tons of Mora here. We better talk to this Miss Aoi and get to the bottom of this. As for you guys, you're free to go. Just pray that our paths don't cross again.
Yes, of course. So, we redeemed ourselves for some IOUs. Does that mean we broke even?
Shut it. Let's just get out of here.
Welcome to Tsukumomono Groceries. We've got everything you need. Can I help you find something? Or perhaps there's something you want to inquire about? Ah, so you're friends of Kurosawa, I take it? Perhaps you're here to pay off his debts.
Whoa! Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're just here to learn where they all came from. How did Kurosawa end up owing you so much money? Did he buy anything super expensive here?
Let me think. Kurosawa would come regularly to purchase large quantities of foodstuffs. He'd always put the payment on his own account. However, the price of provisions began to skyrocket recently, and his salary was no longer enough to cover the cost. So, he started writing out IOUs to cover whatever he couldn't afford of the usual amount.
So that's how he was getting those emergency provisions. But why did he have to purchase a usual amount? If the prices increased, couldn't he just buy less?
Well, if you think about it, the citizens receiving the emergency provisions must have been carefully calculating how much they needed to sustain them each time. Kurosawa thought that it would be quite the disappointment for them if they found they didn't have enough, especially after such long and careful planning. So he deemed it necessary to take on the debt rather than let the people down.
Wow. Kurosawa was purchasing all the emergency provisions at his own expense. And no one ever appreciated what he did. They just complained and held him accountable.
People's attitudes will always reflect their circumstances. In the face of hardship, nobody cares to think twice. If you ask me, had Kurosawa told everyone the truth about the supplies from the start, then there wouldn't be such a severe backlash now. Of course, I'm sure there would still have been some unrest. What he was doing was truly a thankless deed. As for why he chose to spend his own money on emergency provisions and never tell anyone, I'm still not too clear myself. If you're still curious, why don't you go ask him yourself? I see. That reminds me, it seems that his vision was recently confiscated. Most unfortunate. If he doesn't clear the debt on his name, he'll have no choice but to sell that sword that is so dear to him.
Sword? What sword?
Oh, didn't he tell you? He possesses a very valuable blade. He's carried it for years now. I've asked him about its origins. He told me that it was a gift from his father, that it was too precious to sell. In hindsight, I regret that I never made an offer on it. Everything has its price, at least that's what I think. Why don't you ask him about the sword yourself? Perhaps it'll even provide you with the answers you're looking for. Oh, but before you go, if you would kindly settle today's bill.
But we didn't buy anything!
Information is also a kind of commodity, wouldn't you agree? Don't worry, I won't charge much for information about Kurosawa. Nothing we ever discussed was explicitly confidential anyway. Oh, let me think. 2,000 mora should be a fair price.
At least we now know where the emergency provisions are coming from. Plus, we found out that Kurosawa has a priceless sword in his possession. Let's go talk to Kurosawa again, and see if he can remember anything. What are you doing here all by yourself? Where did those other two go?
I presented them with a choice. Either they left or I drew my sword. They left. It turned out to be a real time saver, actually. Perhaps I should start using it more often. Did you manage to track down the treasure hoarders? Everything I said was true, right?
That just about sums it up. It turns out that you really were distributing emergency provisions, but they were all purchased at your own expense.
Strange. Is that really the kind of person I was? I don't really have any such recollection. Even after all you've told me, I still don't remember anything. Why was I purchasing emergency provisions for everyone? And why would I put myself in such a difficult situation? I really don't understand. But I cannot deny that when I brandished my sword to scare those two away, I could sense that my body was somehow reluctant to do so. This sword was once wielded by my father. I remember once when I was young, I wanted to sneak out with the blade and show it off to the kids next door. My father ended up catching me in the act and scolded me severely. What did he say? I can't seem to remember that either. It would seem that I forgot many important things when my vision was taken from me. So many memories gone. Forever. No matter how hard I try to remember, all I can remember now is my father telling me that this blade bore his life's creed. Before he passed away, he placed the sword in my hands and said to me, "With this sword, you should..."
Hey! If you look carefully, there seems to be some words engraved on the hilt. Can you recognize the words?
Virtue and justice? Somehow those two words seem to explain everything now. Taking on seemingly endless debts to make others happy. I guess that must have been my greatest ambition after all. But what use are virtue and justice? I purchased the provisions for those in need. And look how things ended up. The Tenryo Commission seized my vision. And the very people I was so desperately trying to help refused to understand me. And the irony of all of it is, I somehow still felt sorry when threatening them with my blade. I'm incapable of being a good person, yet I'm equally unable to be bad. I don't know what to do with myself.
Yet another troubled soul. When we get the chance, let's speak to Toma about Kurosawa's debt. The Yashiro Commission would surely help cover his expenses. In any case, we must never let him sell off that sword. Yeah, seems like losing all ambition is a terrible experience. Fortunately for us, you don't have a vision. Let's go find the next poor soul. The third person who had their vision taken is supposed to be a famous sword master around these parts. Hyman heard that he's the present-day master of Meikyo Shisui art. Sounds pretty impressive. This is his dojo. Luckily, there's some people around. Let's go talk to them.
Nanako, don't worry. Sensei will be fine. Those thugs that challenged the dojo were strong, but he fought them all off in the end, didn't he?
Maybe, but I'm still worried about him. Things have gotten dangerous before in the past, but it's never shaken him. This time, though...
It's just because he's been possessed, that's all. Once the exorcism has taken place, he'll be right as rain in no time.
Hey there! Did something happen?
Who are you? I don't care whether you're trespassers or just here to harass us while Sensei is impaired. Get out of here immediately! Don't make me draw my blade, or you won't live to regret it.
No! You got it so wrong! We just came here to...
Disciples?
Yep. We've heard all about the mighty master of Meikyo Shisui art. It's the whole reason we came all this way, to seek him out and ask him to train us. But then we got here and overheard you talking about how he got possessed or something?
From the way you're dressed, it doesn't look like you're from around here. Please, accept my apologies. We've had so many people trying to cause us trouble recently that we're on high alert. You haven't arrived at the best of times, I'm afraid. Sensei got possessed recently, and he's still recovering. He's not able to take on any new disciples for the time being. I see you are earnest in your pursuit. Okay, how about this? My fellow disciple Nanako and I will explain Sensei's situation to you in a little more detail. Then you can decide whether to stay or to leave. Sensei's name is Domon, a name I'm sure you've already heard. Though self-taught, he mastered the art of the sword to a high level. He then proceeded to defeat many other prominent sword masters, never losing a single fight. He once said that his goal was to become the best sword master in the world. And so, even while training us, he continued to hone his own art. His fervor truly inspired us, and we trained hard, determined to keep up with him. But then...
Not long ago, Sensei had his vision taken away. He hasn't been the same since. He says the strangest things over and over, and he refuses to let us train. Junya and I have discussed it, and we both think that he's being possessed by an evil spirit. So, we've asked the Shrine Maidens from the Grand Narukami Shrine to perform an exorcism. But if I'm honest, I still have my doubts over whether he'll completely recover.
The Grand Narukami Shrine? What's that?
You haven't heard of it? It's the largest shrine on Narukami Island. The head shrine maiden is reputed to have very close ties with the almighty Shogun herself. Not that we'd have any means of involving the head shrine maiden, of course. But even one of the ordinary shrine maidens from the Grand Narukami Shrine would have clear power and authority to perform an exorcism. So don't worry, Nanako. Sensei is going to be just fine. The exorcism will take place this evening. You're both more than welcome to come and watch if you're interested.
So, losing your vision can cause possession? Guess we should come back this evening and see for ourselves.
Shh. So you decided to come. It's a good thing you didn't arrive any earlier. You would have had to witness Sensei in one of his fits of madness. Just now, when Nanako was attending to him, she heard him whispering a few names to himself. When she asked him who the people were, he suddenly looked panic-stricken and pushed her away. It looked like he was in great distress. He was covering his ears and looking frantically around him with bloodshot eyes. All the while he kept calling those names. Some of them we knew, others we didn't recognize. But they all seemed to be the names of sword masters he had defeated in the past. One of them was Anzai. He used to be a fellow disciple of Sensei's. His senior, in fact. But Sensei defeated him in a duel many years ago, and he has been a wanderer ever since. Sensei wouldn't stop calling his name. Thankfully, the Shrine Maidens managed to subdue him, so the exorcism can finally continue. The ritual has now begun. All we can do is patiently await the result. Here's hoping Sensei will be back to his normal self very soon. Please, excuse me for a moment while I fetch some water. If he wakes up, he is sure to be thirsty.
Huh? Who's that sneaking around? Uh-oh. Could they be here to mess up the exorcism? We won't let them get away with it. Come on, let's go after them. Seems they aren't here. Should we keep going further up? Is this definitely the right place? Let's look a little further up.
How did you catch up with me so quickly? Are you sure you're Domon's disciples? You move even quicker than he does. Unless... I guess it's been a few years. Maybe his skills have improved again.
Excuse me? We're the ones asking the questions here. First off, who are you? And what are you doing sneaking around these parts? You seem like bad news, mister.
Bad news? I'll have you know I trained side by side with Domon back in the day, long before you ever showed up. I don't care to talk about that time anymore. But if you must know, I am Domon's senior.
His senior? Wait, that means you must be...
Anzai? Yes, that's me. Because I don't wish to see Domon or anyone else associated with him ever again. When we were young, we trained under the same swordmaster, studying Make-Yoshi Sui art together. I had begun training 5 years before him, and everyone looked up to me as a steady and dependable older disciple. Practitioners of Make-Yoshi Sui art seek to achieve stillness of mind, freedom from all agitation. So the majority of disciples are indifferent to rank and reward. I was no exception. But Domon was different. The first thing he did when he joined was go straight to our sensei and ask him, with a beaming smile on his face, how to become the best in the world. Sensei scolded him and told him that the art of the sword should not be used for such vain ends. Sensei said that coveting the title of the best swordmaster, barely days into his training, showed that he had a fickle mind, and that this would impede him from ever mastering the blade. I thought so too at the time, but Domon began making swift progress in his training and even started catching up with me. Only then did I realize that it was Domon who had long since freed his mind from all agitation. He was consumed by his singular desire to become the best in the world. He sought nothing less than perfection in the art of the sword, and nothing could deter him from this goal, no matter what stood in his way.
Sure sounds like he meant business. So how come you don't want to ever see him again?
Because until he arrived, I was convinced that I would succeed our sensei as the master of Make-Yoshi Sui art. Of all the disciples, I was the most gifted. I had trained the longest. Everyone had high expectations for me. Domon's arrival changed everything. When we sparred, I lost not just the match, but my pride and my status too. I fled the dojo that day and never looked back. Later, I heard that he sparred with Sensei too. Sensei was advanced in years by then, and unfortunately that match used up every last ounce of energy in his body. After that, I wanted nothing further to do with him. Deep down, though, I still respected his mastery of the blade and his commitment to the art of the sword. So, when I heard rumors that he had lost his mind, my first reaction was to dismiss them as false. How could he, of all people, have lost his mind? His mind was the sharpest of them all. He had practiced Make-Yoshi Sui art to perfection. I decided to quietly come and see if it were true. Then, to my complete astonishment, I heard him call my name. I thought mine was a name he had long since forgotten. So you see, I came here not to cause him any harm. I just wanted to see for myself. Okay, you've heard my story. You should get back now. The exorcism is probably finishing.
Seems like we got it wrong this time. He wasn't here to mess up the exorcism at all. Still, Paimon's not sure we should bring him back with us. Let's go see how the exorcism's coming along.
You're saying he isn't possessed? Does that mean he's just lost his mind? But how is that possible? No, I refuse to believe it. Something's clearly wrong.
Nanako, please. Try not to get agitated.
I am sorry. With what powers I have, I can find no sign of any malignant spirit having possessed Domon. But spirits may take a myriad of forms in this world, many of which I cannot claim to have witnessed myself. Thus, I dare not rule out possession with complete certainty. And all is certainly not lost, for I received word not long ago that Lady Yai has taken an interest in your sensei's case.
Lady Yai? Is that the same Lady Yai that I think you mean?
The head shrine maiden of the Grand Narukami Shrine? That's wonderful news! Then Sensei will be sure to recover.
Correct. Lady Yai is most knowledgeable indeed, and has abundant experience in the exorcism of evil spirits and aversion of great calamities. I am unable to say for certain whether an evil spirit has possessed your sensei, but Lady Yai can give a conclusive verdict.
Excuse me, Miss Inagi, but I must ask, should we prepare a greeting gift for Lady Yai?
That won't be necessary. All that is required of you is your timely arrival at the Grand Narukami Shrine. Lady Yai does not like to be kept waiting. I must leave now, but we will meet soon at the shrine. I wish Domon a full and speedy recovery.
Who'd have thought Lady Yai herself would have taken notice of our sensei's case?
Do you mean to say that Sensei isn't renowned enough to deserve Lady Yai's attention?
No, that's not what I meant at all. You misunderstand me. I just mean this is Lady Yai, the head shrine maiden. She has direct and close contact with the almighty Shogun herself. Anyway, you should join us too, tomorrow. Given that you've traveled all this way just to meet our sensei, we, the disciples of Meikyo Shisui Art, will do our best to help you.
Sure! After all, everyone seems pretty excited about Lady Yai. We're curious to meet her too. Who knows? Maybe we'll be able to find out a thing or two about the Raiden children from her. Do you think that's Lady Yai? Oh, no wonder Junyo is so excited. She has a really striking presence. Also, is it just Paimon? Or did she look right at us just now? It was probably nothing. It's not like she's ever seen us before.
Keep away. Keep away from me. I gave up the art of the sword. Please, let me go, I beg you.
As you can see, Lady Yai, Domon has persisted in this state for some time now. He appears to see those who have lost to him in duels past, gathered all around him to persecute him.
Lady Yai, it must be a possession, right? This is nothing like him at all. In the past, no matter what came his way, he would always face it with a confident smile.
I'm sorry. It is clear to me that your sensei is not possessed by any evil spirit.
But then does that mean he...
Yes. This is a change in the person himself. Unable to cope with the tremendous pressure he was under, he suffered a spiritual collapse. With his wits impaired, he finally descended into madness. As one who is thrown into the sea, though he fights back desperately against his predicament, it does nothing to prevent his descent into the depths. As for what has triggered this change, I believe it must be the loss of his vision. For to be stripped of one's vision is to be stripped of one's ambition.
Stripped of his ambition? But Lady Yi, even without his ambition, why should he suffer such a dramatic change? How does that explain his descent into madness?
Your school practices Meikyo Shisui art, does it not? Stillness of mind, freedom from all agitation. What a fine notion that would be if any in this world could ever hope to achieve it. There was once one who claimed to be indifferent to rank and reward, and who fled enraged when defeated by his junior. And then there was an aged swordmaster who was aggrieved enough that he crossed blades with a disciple he himself had taught. Then, what of the one who crossed blades with his own sensei and beloved fellow disciple, and defeated them both? Can one truly remain unagitated, of still mind in moments such as these?
Lady I'm not sure I understand.
The path of the Swordmaster is filled with twists and turns. It is no small undertaking to pursue the position of greatest Swordmaster in the world. It requires one to take their sword firmly in both hands and cut down the hopes and dreams of others, even those of one's closest companions. Only a deep commitment to his ambition to become the best made it possible for him to rise above the pain of these encounters, to focus on the way ahead. When that ambition disappeared, he began to doubt himself. As he battled his growing anxiety, he slowly descended into the state you see him in now. Much like a certain fatally flawed friend of mine.
Poor Sensei. To think he's been suffering so greatly.
I'm sorry. It's all my fault. Father, Sensei, Ansai.
That's enough.
Huh? Isn't that Ansai? Where did he come from? Did he follow us the whole way here?
Ansai, why are there two of you? Is that you or a ghost? You're here for revenge, aren't you? I knew it would come. I never should have.
You're right to assume that my feelings towards you are far from kindly. But I didn't come here to settle a score. It's been so long now that I made peace with it years ago. You did nothing wrong that day. I couldn't face the humiliation. That's why I ran. I don't think most of the people you beat along the way would hold it against you. On the contrary, when you cut our ambitions short, we entrusted them to you, in the hopes that they might carry you further. Now I know that we can't place our hopes in you any longer, since you've been stripped of your ambitions too. But that is no reason to strip them of theirs. Follow the way of the sword all the way to the highest peak. You taught them that, didn't you?
But what if one day, the same thing happens to them? I put everything I had into trying to become the best. But what if it was all a huge mistake right from the start? If there's a chance they'll end up like me one day, I'd rather they stay where they are now than go any further down this path.
Have you asked them what they think?
Sensei, after you rescued me from the hands of the pirates, I told myself I would follow in your footsteps for the rest of my days. I can't know whether I will suffer in my future as you do now. All I know is that here and now, in the present, I wish to continue. I want to keep going until the day that I can stand before everyone with my head held high and announce that I, like my sensei Domon before me, am a master of Meikyo Shisui art.
Nanako's far from the only one. Actually, all of us think that way.
Goodness. Well,
You see? You can place the ambition you once had in their hands. Being stripped of your ambition is something that's never happened to me, so I can't claim to understand it. But I do know what it feels like to have your ambitions crushed. That's what happened on the day that you so effortlessly defeated me. So, just as I once placed my ambitions onto you, it is time for you to release yours into their custody. You are not in the same position that I was. When I left, I had nothing to my name. But you have a great number of worthy disciples.
I understand. I'm sorry to have made you worry for me, and for the state of Miyakyo Shisui art. I no longer have the resolve to become the best in the world. The emptiness and suffering inside of me will not abate, so I cannot hope to still my mind and be free of agitation. But as your sensei, I shall commit to imparting unto you everything I have learned in my life so far. This is my promise, and I humbly ask Anzai, my senior, to hold me to my word.
You can count on that. I'd be checking in on you occasionally anyway, just to make sure you hadn't lost your mind again. But I am now used to the life of a wanderer. I do not belong in the dojo anymore, so I will simply stop by once in a while to make sure you aren't cutting any corners with them. Well, don't just stand there staring at me. Say thank you to Lady Yai and then get yourself back home.
So even though his ambition was taken away, his disciples can take it over on his behalf. Guess that sort of solves this one, huh?
Traveler, a moment, please. Lady Yai has some words for you.
So, my intuition was correct. The wind that blows from afar carries fresh life to these shores. For us to meet now is premature. Nevertheless, you set foot on these islands at precisely the right moment. I have high hopes for you, child. Don't disappoint me.
Ooh, Lady Yai seems to have taken a real interest in you. She seems super mysterious. Paimon's so curious what she really meant by all that. We can come back to it another time. For now, we should go report back to Miss Kamisato. Ayaka,
こうして会うのは初めてですね。旅人さん、パイモンさん。あなた方が友人たちを手伝ってくれたことはすでにお聞きしました。本当にお疲れ様でした。
そうだぞ。神の目を取り戻さない限り何をやっても効果がない気が。 彩香。どうして今回は出てきたんだ？
あの3つの出来事から私はすでにあなた方を友人とみなしたからです。トーマと話す時と同じように友人とは屏風越しにお話はできません。
うんうん。
ちょっと待った。トーマってお前の家来だろ？おいら家来は嫌だぞ。
パイモンさんは本当に面白い方ですね。トーマは私の家来である以前に私の友人でございます。
そっか。なんか屏風の後ろから出てきた彩香、雰囲気も違う気がするぞ。わかった。じゃあお前の友達になってやる。
ありがとうございます。では本題に戻りますが、神の目を失った方々の苦しみを見てどのように感じられたでしょうか。神である将軍様の目には全ての生き物は一つ一つの生命に過ぎないのかもしれません。雷鳴、閃光、強風、周雨、それらの到来は人々の思いに配慮することなどありません。しかしあなたでしたらきっと感じ取っていただけますよね。どうやら私の気持ちを理解していただけたようですね。であればもう一度お考えを。本当ですか？はい、もちろんです。
まったくお嬢にはかなわない。
彼はそれらを放ってはおけないお方だと言ったではありませんか。やはり私は正しい方を信じることができました。ではこのことはご内密にお願いします。木漏れ茶屋に向かいましょう。シャブ業にいる一般の方を巻き添えにしないためにも。
またここに来たな。
先に話を始めてくれ。俺は周囲の見張りをしてくるよ。
ここは一体何のための場所なんだ？どうしていつもここに集合するんだよ。
ここはかつて将軍様から与えられたシャブ業の放置。シャブ業上里家のみが計画、建設、修理、そして出入りするものの管理を許されています。これらはすべてシャブ業の祭祀事務の特殊性に関係しています。多くの場合で周りの方を近づかせないようにする必要がございますので。
おいらわかったぞ。神秘的な雰囲気が必要なんだな。
その後城内での祭祀が減ってからシャブ業の人間のみが自由に出入りできるこの茶室を先輩方が建てられたのです。
そっか。確かに秘密基地にはぴったりだ。
さて、ここでは自由に話すことができます。何かご質問はございますか？将軍様。私は将軍様とそれほど多くお会いしたことはございません。お会いしたのもそのほとんどが祭祀の儀式場でのことです。記憶ではとても威厳ある方で、高貴で尊く類を見ないほどの威圧感を放っていました。それ以外で最も印象的だったのは、彼女には感情がほとんどなく、統治者というよりも無情な執行者として様々な形で永遠という唯一の目標を実践しているようでした。実はほとんどの方にとってメガリレーは自身と関係ないことなのです。神の目を持つ者はそれほど数が多くありません。それどころか嫉妬を招くほどです。そのため多くの民はそれに対して無関心なのです。
そんな。 あまりいい気はしないな。
しかし私たち以外にも遠方の渡積島に抵抗軍が存在しています。
抵抗軍？メガリレーに抵抗してるのか？
はい。神の目を失った者や失うことを恐れている者が渡積島のサンゴノ宮の下で抵抗組織を結成したのです。サンゴノ宮に関してはもともと鳴上島の幕府と信仰上の衝突をしていたようです。彼女らの率いる抵抗軍に他の意図があるかどうかは分かりませんが、もちろん試みました。しかしメガリレーを廃止する提案が天守閣へ届くたび、天領奉行と勘定奉行による両奉行の否決によって毎回却下されてしまうのです。彼らは無条件で将軍様の決定を支持する態度をとっており、相談の余地さえ見当たりません。そもそも将軍様が突然メガリレーを出したのは一体どのような理由からなのでしょう。
オイラはまだ質問が残ってるぞ。
おやパイモンさん、何が聞きたいのでしょう。
どうやってメガリレーに抵抗するんだ？
正直まだ決まっていません。
おい！
メガリレーに抵抗するということは神に抗うことにもなります。その覚悟を決めるだけでも容易なことではございません。
じゃあどうするんだよ。
今のところ私たちにできるのはメガリレーによる損害を減らす方法を探し出すことだけでしょう。例えば神の目の所有者をかくまったり、偽の神の目を作りその場をしのいだりすることです。
神の目って偽物が作れるのか？
花見坂の手芸職人の手にかかれば肉眼では見分けのつかない偽の神の目を作り出すことができます。しかし現在ある問題がございます。かねてより私たちのために偽の神の目を製造してきた正勝先生が数日前に天領奉行の方に身柄を拘束されてしまいました。
見つかっちゃったのか？
はい。長期的な解決策ではなかったので見つかるのも仕方なかったのですが、このまま正勝先生を見捨てるわけにはいきません。私もそう思います。しかし脱獄となりますと、私とトーマは社奉行としての身分がございますので、このことが露見すれば上里家全体を巻き込んでしまいます。その後の行動での支援も難しくなるでしょう。もちろんこのことを全てあなた一人に丸投げすることはいたしません。準備が整い次第花見坂へ向かってください。そこに長野原という花火屋がございます。そこであなたを手助けしてくれる方を見つけられるでしょう。
おとなしく私な。俺たちが手荒な真似をする前にな。元素力を使ってメガリレーに抵抗するんなら頭を冷やしてきた方がいいぜ。前にそうした奴がどんな結末をたどったか知らないわけじゃないだろう。無駄なあがきだぜ。
見逃してください。この神の目は手に入れたばかりなんです。
使わないと誓いますので。
ちょうど神の目の押収現場に出くわしたぞ。放ってはおけないよな。
ちょいちょい、待ちや。
あっちで誰かオイラたちを呼んでる人がいるぞ。
こっちこっち、はよこっち来。
どうしたんだ？緊急事態なんだ。オイラたち今から。
しー、見とき。
おい、なんなんだよお前。自分に神の目がないからってそうやって野じ馬みたいに。ってあれ、お前持ってるのか？
静かにしとき。うちらまで見つかってまうやろ。
わかりました。これでいいですか、武士様。
ふん、それでいい。行くぞ。
どうするんだよ。もう神の目を渡しちゃったぞ。まさか神の目を失った後何が起きるのか知らないのか。お前のせいでタイミングを逃しちゃったじゃないか。
よいみやさん、ありがとうございます。さっき僕にくれた偽物がなければ本当に押収されてるところでした。
気にせんといて。あんたも結構演技してたで。
そうだったのか。そうとも知らずにオイラさっきよいみやさんにあんな態度を。ごめんなさ
い。ええんや。あんたらのさっきの反応、同じ立場におる人間やってのがよう分かったわ。互いに理解するっちゅうのはめっちゃ重要なことや。あんたもそう思うやろ？あ、自己紹介がまだやったな。うちはよいみや。この長野原花火屋の現店主や。普段は花火を作って生計を立ててんねん。よろしゅうな。
花見坂でよいみやさんを知らない人はいませんよ。夏祭りの女王とはまさに彼女のこと。彼女と彼女の花火がなければ鳴神島に夏がないのと同じことです。
すごい人なんだな。おいらも花火が大好きだ。会えて嬉しいぞ。
そないなこと言われると照れるな、半四郎。それとうちに礼を言うよりも正勝先生に感謝しや。正勝先生が偽の神の目を残してくれたおかげやさかい。あん時うちの神の目も正勝先生の偽物を使うて守ったんや。もし奪われてたら商売上がったりやったで。
はあ、正勝先生は本当にいい方なのにどうして報われないのでしょう。
正勝先
生。なんや、あんたらも正勝先生を知っとるんか？ほんまか？白鷺の姫君が手配したもんやったんやな。実はここ数日獄中に乗り込もうと企んどったところや。せやけどいきなり無謀に突っ走っても上里さんに迷惑かけるだけやと思うてな。うちもあんたらと一緒に行動させてくれへんか？
もちろんいいぜ。綾香もオイラたちに長野原花火屋で助っ人に会ってほしいって言ってたんだ。どうやらよいみやのことだったみたいだな。
どうやら店で神の命の所有者をかくまう以外にもついに他の役割が回ってきたっちゅうことやな。正勝先生は町奉行所に閉じ込められとる。あそこの周りはもううちが偵察したで。めっちゃええ潜入場所があんねん。
よいみやは頼もしいな。お前に会えてよかったぜ。
せやろ？準備ができたら出発するで。絶対に正勝先生を助けるで。
助けるで。 たな。思ってた以上に不気味なところだ。
こっから入って正解やったな。あいつらの注意を引かずに済んだわ。この機会を逃したらあかんで。こんなとこに閉じ込められるんは怖いやろな。はよう正勝先生を救いに行くで。手分けして行動するで。正勝先生を迎えるには少し準備がいるんや。
おう。じゃあ気をつけていけよ。絶対に捕まらないよ。
おう、あんたらもな。
先に行くぞ。
でっかい扉だ。開けるにはあの勾玉の形をしたものを集める必要があるみたいだな。
裁きを受け。正々堂々勝負せよ。はっはっ、いや活目せよ。
お触り禁止。へい。風の神よ、我らを導きたまえ。
足りなかったか。誰だ。敗北を喫してか。
この壁、なんだかおかしいぞ。何か仕掛けがあるのかな。こいつらなんだか強化されてるみたいだ。その力の源はあそこの鎧と関係してるんじゃないか。
前に忘れないたい者ども続け。やっ。
いざ勝負。やっ。
仕掛けるぞ。拙者を恐れ。
はあ。
活目せよ。
いざ勝負。部外者禁止。
正々堂々勝負せよ。
相関化粧。剣に誓う。さ
火炎よ、燃やし尽くせ。
次の仕事は
なかったか。拙者の負けだ。手合わせ願いたい。
いざこの程度の傷。やっ
正々堂々勝負せよ。
平切なしくず。
判決を下し負けだ。なかったか。引くぞ。
早く隠れろ。あっち見ろよ。あれが正勝先生みたいだな。
あんな小賢しい真似で俺たちを騙せるとでも思ったのか。はっ、
投獄だけで済むと思うなよ。
畜生、天領奉行のやつら正勝先生に暴行しとる。
早くどうにかして助け出さないと。おれ、ユイミヤ、お前いつの間に。
もう見てられん。正勝先生に何かあったらうちらがここに来た意味は。
お前たち何をしている。
九条サラ様。
俺たちはただこいつの指導をしているだけです。
あれ、あいつは誰だ。
九条サラ、天領奉行九条家の養子で幕府軍の大将や。なんでこないな場所に。
どけ、どんな状態か見せろ。 死刑は将軍様から禁止されているはずだ。知らないわけではないだろ
う。存じております。
もし自分たちのやったことに恥を感じていないのであれば、天領奉行の配下としてふさわしくない。
申し訳ございません、九条様。
威厳のある人だな。
あいつらの注意力が正勝先生からそれとる。今が好機かもしれんで。おい、
宵宮、焦って行動しない方が。
待て、そこに誰か。お前たち見に行け。
はっ。来たぞ、早く隠れろ。
悪い、うちのせいや。心配せんでええ。うちの失敗はうちが取り戻す。さっき準備しといたとっておきで。
うわ、花火だ。
あそこで何か爆発したぞ。
まさか花火？
見に行くぞ。
花火って注意を引くにはもってこいだな。少し派手すぎる気もするけど
花火の使い道は祭りだけやないで。当たり前や。こいつはうちの自信作なんやから。
おい、宵宮、お前、監獄で花火大会でもやるつもり
か。うちも職人やさかい。無意識のうちにちょっち派手にやりたくなってもったんや。
もうあっちに誰もいないみたいだぞ。今のうちに行ってみようぜ。
宵宮か。
正勝先生、待たせてもうたな。畜生、あいつら好き勝手に。
早く行くぞ。もしあいつらが戻ってきた
ら。今回だけだ。重傷を負っている。連れて行って治療してやれ。だが治療が終わり次第必ずもう一度捕まえる。
次はそう簡単にいかんと思う
で。さっさと行け。
あの暗いところから外に。
正勝先生、平気か？歩けそうか？
大丈夫だ。医者に着く前に死ぬことはないだろ
う。みんな、うちは正勝先生を医者に連れて行く。祝うのはまた今度や。
分かったから早く行け。オイラたちに構わなくていいから。なんとかうまく救い出せたな。そうだな、あの九条サラってやつ、部下の過ちの埋め合わせをするためにオイラたちを見逃してくれたのかな。天領奉行にもいいやつがいるんだな。もちろんメガリレーを執行してることを認めたわけじゃないけど。よし、じゃあこのいい知らせを彩香たちに教えよう。
なるほど。九条サラは君たちに手を出さなかったと。どうやら彼女も全くの理不尽というわけではないようだね。彼女と接触を試み、より多くの情報を聞き出せないだろうか。
それは難しいと思います。九条サラはメガリレーの執行者。彼女は将軍様の命令以外は従いません。正勝先生がメガリレーに直接脅威をもたらす存在ではないと判断し、見逃したのでしょう。しかし私たちの身分があらわになった場合、彼女は容赦しないはずです。
ごもっとも。しかし正勝先生を救い出せた今、俺たちが一本取り返せたと言ってもいいだろう。今回はヨイミヤと旅人のおかげだ。勝利にまた一歩近づけたってわけだ。君は俺が思っている以上に頼りになる人みたいだな。
そうでもないぜ。
確かに旅人さんの助けがなければ今回の救出はこんなにうまくはいかなかったでしょう。しかしメガリレーに抵抗するにはこれだけではまだまだ足りません。今後の計画を準備する必要がございます。
そんなに心配しなくても大丈夫さ、お嬢。少なくとも今は全ていい方向に向かっている。監獄から正勝先生を無事救出し、仲間の数も増えた。そういえば天領奉行が近頃祝典の準備をしていると聞いた。何か儀式に似たようなものらしい。それで町にいるメガリレーの武士が減ったのは確かだ。今は一時的に平和になってる。
儀式？どうして天領奉行がそのようなことを？
俺にもわからないが、俺たちとは関係ないことだろう。とにかく彼らが最近忙しくしているのは事実だ。俺たちに構う暇なんてない。
そうですね。確かに一理あります。ずっと気を張っていても疲れがたまるだけでしょう。少々休息を取った方がいいかもしれません。トーマ、何か提案はございますか？
ちょうど祝賀会を行おうと思ってたところだ。みんなで一緒に鍋でもどうかな。実は最近新しい鍋遊びを知ってね、とっても面白いんだ。
鍋遊び？なんだそれ。聞いた感じ、食べ物と関係があるみたいだけど。
簡単に言えば、各自それぞれ違う材料を用意し、一緒に鍋に入れる。目を閉じて鍋から食材をすくい出し、食べながら誰の食材かを当てるんだ。正解した場合、同じ作業をもう一回繰り返す。最終的に得点が一番高かった人が鍋の神のご加護を得られるという言い伝えがあるんだ。面白そうだろ？もう待ちきれない。実はすでに自分の分の食材は用意してあるんだ。
どんだけ遊びたいんだよ。仕方ないな。旅人、オイラたちも食材を用意してこようぜ。何がいいかな。どれどれ？鬼ヤバな絶雲の唐辛子、超しょっぱいハム、無評花のかずい。なんか恐ろしい鍋になりそうだな。
お腹が痛い。胃の中で花火が上がってるみたいだ。
まさかトーマが一番得点を取るなんて。おかしな食材はほとんどトーマが食べちゃったな。大丈夫かトーマ。
塩漬け青魚、熟していないスミレウリ、 しゃぶしゃぶ団子。それと食べたら舌が凍るやつ。なんだか走馬灯が見えてきた気がするぜ。さよならみんな。
全部トーマがご自身で入れたおかしなものじゃございませんか。自分の食材をずっとすくっていましたよ。
でも綾香は鍋にケーキを入れてたよな。旅人が食べてたぞ、鍋ケーキ。想像するだけでも
ごめんなさい。もっと美味しくなると思いまして。
ダメだ、少し休ませてくれ。はあ、生き返った。
トーマ、別にあんなに頑張らなくてもよかったんだぞ。わざといくつか間違えれば綾香や旅人の番になってたのに。
最近運があまり良くないと感じてね。鍋の神のご加護で運勢を変えたかったんだ。だけど気づいたら火がついちゃってたようだ。まあ一種の修行だと思えば問題ないさ。もう悪い運気は全てこの遊びで使い切ったことを感じるよ。今ここに宣言しよう。本日の鍋遊びはこれにて閉幕。優勝者はこの俺だ。
おお。
遊びも終わり、仕事も一段落ついた。次は休息を取る時間かな。
はい、トーマの言う通り、天領奉行が本当に何か準備をしているのでしたら一度休息を取りましょう。休んでいる間に私も少々行いたいことがございます。
じゃあ各自休んでくれ。何日か後に木漏れ茶屋に集合して次の計画を相談しよう。めったにない休暇だ。大事に使うんだぞ。俺もそろそろ支度をして次の鍋遊びの食材を用意してくるとしよう。
またやる気かよ。
一回だけじゃ物足りないだろ。じゃあみんなまた。
おう、またな。旅人、しばらく木漏れ茶屋には来なくていいみたいだから他の場所に行ってみようぜ。これからどうしよう。何か計画とかないのか？
旅人さん、パイモンさん、お待ちください。
あれ、綾香？
一つ頼みたいことがあるのですが、ご心配なさらずに。今回の依頼は社奉行や上里家とは関係ございません。私個人のお願いです。
個人ってことはプライベートなことか？
はい、私のお母様に関することでございます。突然で申し訳ないのですが、このことはあなたにしか頼めません。先日古い蔵の中からお母様が残した手記を見つけました。そこにはお母様が書き留めた様々なさじが記されていたのですが、その中に私の聞いたことのない人名が頻繁に出てきていて、とても気になるのです。
お母さんの友達じゃないか？
はい、両親が亡くなってからすでに何年も経っているとはいえ、関わりがあった人物については私もお兄様も大抵は存じております。ですので この名前も聞いたことのないお方が非常に気になるのです。手記には相手の名前は椿と書かれていました。お母様から高く評価されていて、個性的で遊び心あふれる方だったようです。
聞いた感じ、女の人の名前だな。
はい、その女性に会ってみたいのです。
じゃあオイラたちは何をすればいいんだ？人探しか？
いえ、手記には彼女の住所が記されていましたので、直接そちらへ赴けばいいでしょう。旅人さんに依頼したいのは、一緒に手土産を用意していただきたく思ったからで、それと先ほど言ったことはどうかご内密にお願いします。もともとこのようなことはお兄様と一緒に対応するべきなのですが、今お兄様はとても忙しく、それにこの地にいる他の者にはこのことに関わらせたくないと思いまして。はい、あなたは礼儀作法に詳しく、人を思いやる心を持った優しいお方です。それにとても頼りになりますし、あなたといると安心できます。
おお、手土産の用意ならオイラたちも手伝えるぞ。報酬はそうだな、うまいもんをごちそうしてくれるだけでいいぜ。
それは良かったです。もともとこの機会を利用してお二方と一緒に歩きたいと思っていたのです。よろしければ一緒に行動しましょう。
もちろん、いいよ
な。ありがとうございます。では早速出発しましょう。まずは小倉屋へ。
おお、